Hello and welcome to My Deck Tech. I'm Todd Anderson playing Mono Green Nissa. Now, many of you have seen me playing decks called Mono Green Devotion, and these are decks that are based around Nykthos, Shrine of Nyx, generating a ton of mana, so you can do things like Court of Calling for Hornet Queen or cast gigantic Genesis Hydras. But that's not really what this deck is trying to do. This deck's trying to be a little more fair, but it has some tools that helps out in very specific matchups. Let's go and take a look at the deck, and then I'll kind of give you a reasonable explanation why these things exist. So first off, one of your bad matchups is Mono Blue Devotion, and this deck decides to main deck for Citizen Tactics. This card is fantastic against any creature-based deck. It is pretty bad against, like blue-white control because they don't have creatures, but in a pinch you can still use this to give all your guys +1/+1 when you're trying to like swing for lethal or something. So it's not actually a dead card.
We do have a game plan against blue-white control, though.
That is my next point, which is 4 copies of Darksteel Citadel, which we turn into 4/4 indestructible trampling creatures against Supreme Verdict decks. Now, even if they have Planar Cleansing, they can kill Nissa, but they don't kill your lands for 2 reasons. Planar Cleansing doesn't kill lands, and also it's indestructible. So were you about to say something?
Yeah, there's even other benefits about Darksteel Citadel that it can't get detention seared. So you only have to pretty much deal with Azorius Charm once you have this as a 4/4.
Yeah, I mean, there are answers to anything that you could potentially do, Azorius Charm being one of them, but if there is Azorius Charm in my Darksteel Citadel, instead of killing Nissa or casting Sphinx Revelation or countering my spells, I'm pretty happy with that. The rest of this deck, we actually have some spiciness going on. You do have the standard bajillion mana accelerators with Elvish Mystic. Oddly enough, we're playing Golden Hind. I believe that's just because we don't want to play Sylvan Carotid as we're mono green. And then we're playing 3 Voyaging Satyr also because it has power attached to it.
Yeah.
Corso Crewfix lets you hit your land drops, lets you try to find more copies of Darksteel Citadel to turn this on. More so just generates excess land so that even if you get hit by a Supreme Verdict, you still have mana to do things. 4 Boon Satyr, which is a great flash creature against Supreme Verdict, but also insane in matchups where your opponent has to block your guys. Bestow lets you pump your guy up enough so that you can trade with an opposing Pulchranos, lets you survive multiple double blocks, and lets you kill things like Desecration Demon. The similar effect of Briarpack Alpha, and this is not one we've really seen and constructed too much. I think
I've stared at him a couple of times, so I was really excited to see him.
Yeah, there was one deck, I think, there was like a blue-green flash deck that people were playing for a little while when Theros first came out, I think. When what's the 3/2 flyer that gains life whenever you draw a card?
Horizon
Chimera. People were trying a blue-green flash deck with Boon Satyr, Horizon Chimera, etc., etc. And a couple of them were playing 2 copies of Briarpack Alpha as a way to counter a burn spell, like counter a lightning strike on your Horizon Chimera. But also, when your opponent was able to block, you were able to usually save your guy and kill theirs. On top of that, we have 4 Pulchranos, which is kind of the norm for mono green decks at this point. And then the odd man out, Fated Intervention. Now, again, this goes a long way in helping against blue-white control, which is traditionally one of this deck's bad matchups. Now we have 4 Boon Satyr, 2 Briarpack Alpha, and 4 Fated Intervention as creatures that we can sandbag until our opponent passes the turn. And if they don't cast Supreme Verdict, we get to apply a lot more pressure to them. But if they do cast Supreme Verdict, we actually get to have creatures that survive it. They come in after it resolves.
The thing that I love most about this deck is the small little things like where Briarpack Alpha is going to be good. Like, I was thinking about that, and it made a lot of sense. Like, let's say you have Pulchranos, and then they play Demon. Now you can just attack and attack right through it. Also, whenever a deck that's like mono green just holds mana up, it passes the turn, usually they're going to get got. I bet he got a lot of people early in the tournament with a lot of these tricks.
Yeah.
But most importantly, some of the rougher cards like Pack Rat and things like that build up a lot, get dwarfed a lot by these cards, and especially if you're say go and they guess wrong and you just block with a 5/5, you eat a rat.
Yeah.
And then if they wait till their end of turn, you just say go again, and now you just get to hold this up.
Yeah.
So the deck gets to hold a ton of cards up. That is just amazing. Also, you can just play this, untap, play one of your flash things. It's so brilliant. I loved this deck.
Yeah, I didn't see it until actually this morning when you sent me the link for it, and this is a deck after my own heart. I'm not going to lie. It does solve a lot of the problems that the current mono green decks that I've been trying to build have. I'm trying to go bigger and bigger, but that's not really what you need to be doing. You need to be having specific things that fight specific things that are targeting you, like things that beat Tidebinder Mage, things that beat Master of Waves, things that beat Supreme Verdict.
You're a mono green deck that when most decks are trying to contain you, you actually get the ability to contain them with a lot of tricks. And that's not what a mono green deck tends to get. Also, you just have the powerful this plus Void Insider, so you have like Vigilance,
yeah.
4/4s. I'm a big fan of this deck.
Yeah, this is sweet. Anyway, guys, that is the main deck for Mono Green Nissa. Let's go and take a look at the sideboard, and then we'll get to battle. All right, so in our sideboard, if you take a look, we have 4 copies of Nilia Disciple, which is going to make Brad's life miserable today.
I'm going to love life.
No, I'm going to love life. We have a Scavenging Ooze to tag team with it if he's trying to kill our creatures, just ways to gain incremental points of life. I don't think...
A Pithy Needle to stop my hammer.
Yep. Nope. 1 Bow of Nilia, which I don't think comes in this matchup since you do have a reasonable number of creatures, and this card is much better at just beating like an actual burn deck, like the normal red-white burn deck, since it just acts like a counterspell over and over again for their burn spells.
I don't know about you, but I also like this deck, or this card, against Mono Black Devotion when you're on the play. It sounds weird, but I do like it. Like, it gives all your guys the ability to Death Touch over anything, and even just being able to have access to like just gaining 3 life when they're racing with a Life Bane.
Yeah,
it has worked for me before.
I don't mind this card against Mono Blue Devotion sometimes too, as it can blank a couple of their flyers. And in racing situations against things like Thassa, like 3 life a turn actually is a huge deal because your creatures are generally able to hold off most of their ground guys, and then your Season Tactics should be able to take care of some of their flyers, and then if you can gain life to just try to beat the Thassa, you know, for a couple turns, I think this card could be good in that matchup as well. Needle, I think, is mostly going to be for Elspeth. Elspeth's a big problem for mono green decks. Through Reclamation Sage, I guess, is great against Attention Sphere, but I don't really want it against very many other things. Unraveled Ether, great against Thassa, also good against D-Sphere. And then 4 Mistcutter Hydras, because Mono Blue Devotion and Blue-White Control are your 2 worst matchups, I think, and Mistcutter Hydra is a huge card against them.
I know exactly why this is in the sideboard. It's for Red-White Burn, because it kills Fire Drinker, or it kills Fire Dancer.
Satyr Fire Dancer
and
Eidolon
and Chain of the Rocks.
Okay, that's cool too.
Yeah, it's just being able to kill both those. Cause
I mean, it kills artifacts and enchantments. So if you see a lot of artifacts and enchantments,
but more importantly,
those come out of the
are
sideboard.
Those?
Yeah, that's true too. And both those usually do come out of the sideboard in the burn decks, or they have chain main deck. But yeah.
But the big one is the Dancer is really tough to beat for a mono green deck.
Yeah, I could see that. Cool. All right, guys. Well, that is mono green Nissa. Let's get to fight battle.
Battle fight.
Battle fight.
Fight battle sounds better.
Fight battle. Okay.
You got it the first time.
I know.